Sit, Leo. That's a crash, but I'll reward that crash. This is Leo, and this is Leo's roadmap to success. Now, as he photo ops. Leo, come here, buddy. So basically, Leo is a really high energy dog. And I think basically part of his problem is related to not getting enough excess energy, depleted. And so I spent the first good portion of the session talking about ways to burn off excess energy. The guardian's like, I take him to the dog park and we're there for an hour, hour and a half, and I bring him home. By the time we're home, he's crazy again. So dog parks are great for socialization, and they're a good place to burn some energy, but there's a lot of other things that we can do. So one of the things I would recommend is, I just actually recommended a second ago off camera, is a dog backpack. It's basically, it looks like saddlebags. There'll be a pocket on this side, pocket on this side. Don't get too expensive a one, but don't get too cheap a one. Usually in the about $60 to $100 range. And then you fill it up with water, and when we go for a walk, it makes the walk more efficient. I wouldn't leave it on the inside, but that'll help. Another thing that works really well for him, he's very interested in laser. And so we had him chasing the laser around. I would come up with a kind of a circuit, maybe do a figure 8 in here, then go down the hallway there and come back and call each one of those a 1. And then, you might have a certain routine or the number of repetitions that you do. I'll talk about how to figure out the number of repetitions in a second. Something else we might want to do is we have a staircase that's kind of a 2-banger. And so I would go to the top of the stairs, reach through the railing when he's up there with you, touch it, and then drop it, and he's going to run down the stairs to get it. Remember, anytime you're giving a treat, he should hear the command word of the treat after it goes into his mouth. And so as soon as he goes down, maybe we call it, lobby, and then he runs upstairs, and then we give him another treat, and we call that one penthouse, or whatever it is. And so basically, takeoff and landing, to kind of use an apropos for what we have going on here. So basically, I would count each one of those as an up, down as 1. So he runs down and then comes back up, that's 1. And then the first time I would do it, I would let him do it with with an empty stomach, and do it as many times as he will do it until he stops coming back to you. And then count each up, down, and then you know what his maximum throughput is. Maybe it's 50, for him it's probably like 70. But whatever it is, then we know, okay, that's the maximum. And then we do maybe a quarter to a third of that as maintenance different times throughout the day. Sit. I'll pay that. Sit. Let me see. Another great way to burn off excess energy is what we call scent games. I would invite the guardian to Google scent games, and then basically just hiding treats around the room and then having him come in and search for them. And that way, when he's using a different muscle, but it's even though he's not using physical capabilities, it's very mentally draining, or it can be physically draining even though he's using mental energy. The last thing I recommend is, my favorite thing to do is I put on rollerblades and put my dog on a harness and I have them pull me for several miles. I call it dog skiing. It is super fast. It is super efficient. He would be a great dog for this. Also, playing fetch is another good one. He does like to play fetch, so I would certainly do that. Do it with a frisbee and with a ball. That's why the iFetch will come in handy. The iFetch will let him play fetch with himself in the house. So you put it over there, and then when we're gone during the day and he has too much excess energy, he goes over, drops it in, fetches 15, 20 times, whatever it is, and then takes a little bit of a nap. I think half of his problem is related to not having his exercise needs met. The guardian works a job where he works very long shifts, but there are roommates in the house that also might have to sleep and they work at different schedules. And if he's going around the house barking and roughhousing like he is, it's going to make him not very welcome, probably. And so if we can, what I would recommend the guardian do is start an exercise journal. Get a pad of paper or just a spiral notebook. Write down the date at the top of the piece of paper, and then write down the time and how long the walk was, the time and how many fetches, the time and how many revolutions when it comes to the laser, or up downs on the stairs, or whatever it is. Set games. And then also if he gets the zoomies, which is basically when he runs in here, and he was running up on the couch, running up on the wall. This is a paw print. Just kidding. But he's trying to deplete his energy. So when he gets the zoomies like that, you need to interpret that as his way of saying, I have too much excess energy. If you're not going to exercise me, I'm going to exercise myself. He also does a lot of demand barking, also related to having too much excess energy. So when we can start depleting that excess energy, we're going to figure out what we need to do for him through the exercise journal. So for the exercise journal, write down the time and however the quantity, the time that he got the zoomies, the time that he started barking, and all the rest, anything noteworthy that went on. He was barking like crazy at the window, but there was construction going on the street. And then at the end of the day, give him a letter grade, A through F. Now the next day, play around with the variables. Maybe we fetch a couple more times. Come here, buddy. I don't want to collapse your trachea. There we go. An extra couple games of fetch. Exercise is best done sprinkled throughout the day. We have tendency as humans to think of one long exercise is going to be good. And as the guardian mentioned, you can go to the dog park for an hour, he comes back home, and he's ready to go. And so, is we still going?
Yeah.
So basically for him, if we can help him by getting him, the exercise journal will teach us, okay, we need to get him 10 little things of exercise sprinkled throughout the day. I'm just doing this because I don't want to bark because it's going to be hard to listen. But as you notice, he doesn't bark when he's close to somebody. So if we can find out what he needs in terms of exercise for him to feel good and comfortable and burn off that excess layer of energy, then it's going to be easier for us to get him to listen and focus and do all the other stuff that we covered in this session. All right, buddy, let's come in over here. We also went over some rules. He has no rules, and I'm pretty sure he sees the humans as being an equal to him, or that he's responsible for the humans. So I went over a couple of tips called like petting with a purpose and passive training. So if he wants this treat, he's going to have to earn it. There we go. Sit. That's actually passive training. But basically, if he comes up and he's pawing at me or nudging me or jumping up on me and I pet him, I'm rewarding him. Anything our dog is doing when we pet them is what we're specifically rewarding. Okay, the camera freaked out, so we're kind of, this is a weird transition. I'm merging these together and editing after the session. But basically, the exercise journal is going to really help. I think I was started talking about petting with a purpose and passive training. So right now, he's demanding attention from me. So sit, sit. Remember, anytime you give him a treat, say the word after the treat goes into the mouth. So if he paws at me or nudges me and I pet him, I'm telling him, yes, you're in charge of me, and when you tell me what to do, I listen. So what we do instead is when he tells me what to do, come here, Leo, stop photobombing. When he tells me what to do, then I'm not going to do what he wants. I'm going to give him a counter order. And then when he does what I want, then he's going to get whatever the thing is. Or he's going to get the reward for sitting or laying down or coming. So if he's already here, ask him to sit over here. If he's sitting, ask him to lay down. He just has to do something to change his state. Sit, sit. And don't repeat it multiple times like I just did. Say it once. If he doesn't do it, then he doesn't get what he wants. That's a crash. I'll reward that. So basically, after a while, what will happen is he's going to start coming up to you and prepaying for attention. Before I forget, the reason that he keeps on lurching away from me is the guardians at times have snatched at him. And he normally doesn't wear a collar. I have him on a martingale right now. But I think I got you that time. But we want to snatch him as little as possible because that kind of breaks the trust. You should want him to voluntarily want to come to you anytime. And we can use passive training for that, which I'll get to in a second. But for petting with a purpose, we're just going to, if he comes up and tells me what to do, I'm not going to do what he wants. I'm going to give him a counter order. When he does it, I'm going to pet him under the chin and say whatever the thing is that he was doing. So if I told him to sit, I'm going to say sit, not good sit. The more that we do this, after a while, he'll start coming in front of us and sitting to prepay for attention. When he does that, make sure we do recognize that. Otherwise, he's going to go back to doing the other things we don't want, like barking. Passive training is waiting for the dog to voluntarily offer you the behavior that you want without asking or influencing it of any way. So if he's laying over there in his dog bed and he comes over to me, I would pet him and say, come. If he came and he's hanging out next to me, sits down, I pet him and say, sit. Lays down, I pet him and say, crash. If he brings me a toy, I would name all the individual toys. All balls can be a ball, but if you have like something that looks like DNA, call that DNA. Another one's an elephant, maybe call that Trump or whatever it is. And you get to the point where you have a vocabulary. To get him off the couch, which was one of the rules, I would, if he was on the couch, I would see if we can get you to come up here. So if I want him off the couch, off. I just drop a treat on the floor, and when he lifts it up, I say the word off. And you see how twitchy he is. I think part of it is his high energy, but part of it is the cortisol. Come here, buddy. I can't have you block the camera. Now, also play a little hard to get. If I go to chase him, then that puts him in the driver's seat. I'm going to smash this so you can nibble on it. But if he comes to me, then I'm in the driver's seat. So whenever possible, try to get him to come to you before you take him for a walk, before you play football or pet him or whatever it is. He just has to do something for you first. So right there, buddy. Okay. So the rules we went over, not being allowed the furniture, I would recommend getting X mats for the couch so that when you're gone, he's not getting up here. I would recommend, before we go into all the rules, we have some great windows here that let in great light, and they have blinds. And if we close the blinds, the problem is he jumps up on the furniture and then barks at people coming by. He thinks he's a guard There are guards in this house, and it's not you, buddy. And so basically, if we close the blinds, then the room is dark and we feel like we're shut in. What we could do instead is get paper, just white paper from like Kinko's, get the roll that's 3 feet wide, and then just put it on the inside of these, or on the, in this case, for inside, the outside of the window, so he can't scratch it off. And just for the lower part of the window. So we can still look outside and see what's going on, but from his perspective, every time he gets up on the couch, it's not rewarding for him. He can't see outside. So we'll stop practicing that behavior. This is demand barking, which is he does a lot. I'm not getting my way, so I want it. Now you see that lean that he's leaning in. That's a way of indicating I'm not comfortable, fully confident in this person. So if you see him leaning towards somebody, that's his way of saying I'm not fully trusting that person. So the person needs to, for guests, when you have guests come over, I talked about in the video above for the focus exercise, but I'd like the guest to get in a habit of coming over and kind of ignoring him. So I'd like the guardian to also look for ways to delay gratification. One of the things that I went over was the importance of petting with, or excuse me, not petting, but feeding with structure. And so the guardian puts food in the bowl. Come here, buddy. Puts food in the bowl and leaves it in there. And he doesn't eat it. So I put food in the bowl, make sure the guardian eats first, or whoever's feeding, and then basically let him come over, take a bite of food. When he takes his first bite of food, we're going to say whatever the name that we want to assign, maybe grub, chow, feast, mess. And as soon as he takes that first bite, in 2 months, he hears that single word. After a while, you can say mess. If that's his word, he bounces up and down, and lets him mess to go. I also like the guardian to give him a command word for potty. And the command word for potty can be whatever you want. But right now, the guardian, he'd been barking late at night, and the guardians get up and let him out because they didn't want him to have accidents. And now he has misinterpreted that as barking is my way of asking the humans to let me outside. And maybe he just wants to go out and play. And so if we come up with a command word for it, then if we think he needs to go to the bathroom, maybe the word is, latrine. And we say latrine, and he looks at us like this, we know it's a no. But if we say latrine, and he starts bouncing and being like that, then we know, yes, that's what he wants. So to do that, dogs look through association and repetition. So every time that you take him outside to potty and he starts to pee or poop, say latrine or whatever the word is that you want to use, within 3 seconds of him starting. And then once he gets done, say the word again after you pop a treat into his mouth. And so that way the dog learns that when he knows like to grab his collar again. But that way the dog learns that word means that specific thing. So that way, if we want to, if it's late at night and we don't know if he needs to actually go out to the bathroom or not, then we can just say the word. And if we say latrine and he just looks at us, we know that he just wants to go out and have just fart around. Now, basically, he does a lot of demand barking. And again, I think this is related to not having any rules. So let me pick back up on the rules that we started talking about that I didn't finish earlier. So one of the rules would be you have to sit before you let him in or out of the back door. Go to the door, say sit once. If he doesn't sit within 3 seconds, walk away. Wait 1 minute, then go back and tell him, sit. Sit. In this case, at the door, I would then open the door and let him out. If he doesn't sit, then I would walk away for 2 minutes the next time. Next time I would walk away for 4 minutes, then for 8 minutes. So keep on doubling the length of time until eventually sit. When you tell him to do whatever it is, he does it automatically. And eventually he'll just go sit at the door as his way of saying he wants to go outside. Now, the guardians should make sure they're feeding him after they eat something first, which I talked about earlier. But also, he should not be within 7 feet of the guardians when they're eating. Now, if you can use those escalating consequences I went over to enforce those rules. If you have questions or forget how to do that, message me. I have videos I can share with you that explain how to do that. He should not be in the kitchen when we're preparing food. That's a way of challenging for food. Sit. But the rest of the time he can go in and out of the kitchen, just not when they're there with food. If you're petting him and he puts his paw on top of your arm, stop petting him. I call this light switch on, light switch off. Light switch on, light switch off is engaging or disengaging. So if I'm petting him and everything's fine, and then he puts his paw on me, then I stop petting him. And if my timing is precise, after a while he realizes every time I do that, he stops petting me. He must not know how to do that. And eventually he'll figure out not to do that. Right now, he's basically a spoiled dog who is used to getting his way, which is why he acts this way, because it works. So it's going to be really important for the guardians and everybody else to stop petting him as soon as he puts his paw on them or starts barking at them. For the guardians, for the roommates to enforce the rules by not letting him on the furniture and stuff like that, so that he sees all the humans have the same rank and authority as I do. or have more rank and authority than he does. I also showed the Guardian a touch exercise, which he picked up on touch or targeting, I think is the word we were using, really easily. And so the more that we redirect, these are great ways to redirect him. I'd also like the Guardian to try to teach him some new tricks or commands. Try to shoot for a goal of 1 a week. And just teaching him how to, and don't practice the shake anymore, but bang you're dead, or roll over, or fetch me a beer, or whatever it is. Fetching a beer is a little bit more complicated, but find some easy commands that you can teach him. These are also nice ways to redirect his attention. It also will boost his self-esteem, which will help with his twitchiness and kind of insecurities. And it's just it's fun for you to do. It'll deepen the relationship between the two of you as well. Whoops. You can have that one. Sit. I also went over how to teach a dog to go to the dog bed on command by just simply throwing a treat onto the dog bed, and when he licks it up, we say that, oh, you missed that one. There we go. And then we would say the word, what did we come up with?
Dorm.
Dorm for that one. And come up with fun command words for these new commands. You could say bang you're dead, but instead maybe say kapone, and then he sticks them up, or you roll over, whatever it is. So coming up with those fun command words because dogs can read a human facial expression will really help. Leo, sit. Sit. Can we get you to come up here? Leo. There we go. This is Leo. This is Leo's roadmap to success. Remember, everything you do trains your dog. Only sometimes you mean it.